During the course of this build, keep in mind that I made many changes, many design changes, and I also made a lot of mistakes. So watch the video until the end to get all the measurements and see the things that I did wrong. What's up everybody, Tiffany Outdoors here. Today, I need to build another fish tank stand. Another one. Stay tuned. There's the hawk. Before there was a Tiffany Outdoors, there was Tiffany the Farmer.
On a U-turn when possible.
No, we're not U-turning.
Hi. Hi, what are you doing? Hi, Boo. What?
Alright, so here is my issue. Let me show you guys. Alright. I have the lights turned off right now because I'm trying to get ahead of the algae that you see here. And there's a little bit of algae forming on these rocks here. But I cannot access this bottom tank. Let me turn the light on and show you guys. In between the tank and the top of the stand itself, that much. I only have that much space. I cannot fit this into that. It's just not going to work. Now this stand is beautiful. I absolutely love it. I love that the way it looks. I like the way it's built. There's just not enough room for me to get my hand in there to get to that tank. So I'm going to have to build another stand here. I've got my measurements. So now it's time for me to go to Lowe's. Alright y'all, this is the next day. It's kind of breezy out here, so I'll try and go as easy as I can on your ears and the wind noise. I can't help it. I'm sorry. So what I need to do, I've got my miter saw set up. Wood here. I got one shelf base thingy. I need to make 2 more of those, and then I need to figure out my design from there. So first things first, I need to make 2 more of these. Now for the assembly. So my measurements are 32 this way, 13 inches here, and it's going to be a little bit wider, I think. Yeah, I want 32 inches this way, and this in between here is 13 inches. Now, what I want to do is, I guess I can put this together. So you're going to take a scrap piece of 2x4. You got a scrap piece here. You're going to put that on the edge like this. And then you're going to take your middle section, butt it up against. Then you're going to drill pilot holes from this way that will go through your little bracer piece here. Helpful to take another piece to do like that, line everything up perfectly. Alright, got my shelf base is all painted, and while those dry, I'm going to move on to the next step. The next step, I'm going to cut my uprights at 9 inches. So I need 4 boards at 9 inches. Got those pieces cut, and those were at 9 inches. That's going to be the top of my first shelf, and this side's going to be the base. Now I need to cut my uprights, which are going to be 30 inches, so I need 4 at 30 inches. Our uprights are cut. Now it's time to start doing some assembly. Alright, first thing, you'll take a scrap piece of 2x4, you'll place it on your upright like this. You want this to be even this way as much as possible. And then you're going to take your first upright, which is our 9-inch pieces, and I've already pre-drilled the holes and countersunk them, and here, like so. And then I'm going to put in 3 screws. This right here basically is your spacer. Alright. And again, we put 2 screws. There we go. So that's going to look like that. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do the other 3, and then I'll come back to you. Got the uprights done, and now I'm going to take this, flip it over, and on this bottom part with the short space there, I'm going to drill some pilot holes. I think I'm going to do 3 pilot holes. Okay, I'm going to do that in each one. Now this is going to become clearer. Now we're going to take this, stick it there. I'm going to get the screws started. That should be flush here, and butt up against the inside. And just screw it in. Like so. Okay. Now I'm going to do the other 3, and then I'll come back to you. Now for the next upright on the next shelf. Okay. I made a mistake. My problem is I get so much into the build that I don't take into account for the thickness of this 2x4 here. So I didn't account for that at all. So I need to subtract some length off of these 4 pieces here. So I'm going to take them off one at a time. Geez. Take them off one at a time and cut it down to 6 inches because I need that bottom shelf to drop down some more. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll get it together, y'all. I promise. Alright, so I need to take these off one by one, cut it down to 6 inches, and put it back on, and then we'll keep moving. Okay, that's better. And that bottom section right there is going to be for storage. So before I put on the next layer, I need to put that shelf in. I opted to go with this, I think it's birch, but it's 1/2 inch. And I'm going to use this for the shelf, and I need to cut it 32 inches by 16 inches. And I'm trying to remember how much this was. I think it was $14 for this one piece. So, oh well. Alright, let's cut it down. Y'all, I am full of mistakes today. Alright, so first off, I cut the shelf the wrong dimensions, but it's good enough that it works, but they are the wrong dimensions. I cut it too narrow this way, but it's just a bottom shelf. It's just for storage. It's not an integral part of the build, so I'm not that worried about it. So all I can do is keep going. So all I did was I notched out the corners there, and then I put 2 screws there and 2 screws there to hold it in place. Like I said, that's not going to be holding anything other than some fish nets and food and little knick-knack stuff like that. So I'm not too worried about it carrying any weight. So the next shelf, I have to do it correctly. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and paint my uprights. Go ahead and get that painted, let it dry, and while that's drying, I'm going to cut my next shelf. This is my second shelf that's going to go down here. So what I'm going to do is lay it on top here, and then I'm going to take my pencil and draw around the 2x4s, leaving a line. And then I'm going to take my circular saw and cut those notches out so that shelf will drop right down there. Now, what I'm going to do is take my chisel and just break these pieces off, and then I'm going to clean up this edge here. You can also take a hammer and break these off, but I just take my chisel in and twist it back and forth like that. Those just pop right off. And take a sharp chisel and clean those lines up. I do this from this direction, and then I go back and do it in this direction. Get both sides. A little bit more. There you go. Alright, let's see how this fits. One thing I noticed that I did forget to do, I forgot to screw that second level shelf base to the upright. So let me take that shelf off and do that. So the going theme for this build is how many mistakes can Tiffany make? So I did another thing. Okay, so what I did, that top part, I shortened the cross section there so that the top part rests right on top of these 2x4s here, and I had to repaint it. It's drying over there, but I think I just need to take a break and do something different because I keep making a lot of mistakes. So I'm going to go ahead and start the sides. That's going to wrap around the bottom. This front part is going to have a drop down door with a handle that pulls this way, and the drawer will pop down like that and up like that. So I have a piece of 1/4 inch plywood. Doesn't need to be super thick. It's just a covering, so there's no it's not holding any weight or anything. It's just a covering to cover up these edges here at the bottom. Alright, so I'm going to flip this thing on its side, have this face up, and then cut my section for the door. One design change after another. So the way I have to do the hinges there, got the drop down door cut. I need a piece of scrap wood to do a spacer. So, and my scroll saw has crapped out. It doesn't work anymore. So I'm using my hand saw, and I'm just knocking off as much of this as I can, and then I'm going to take my belt sander and then grind it down the rest of the way. Tedious, I know, but it's a necessary step. Here's a tip for hand saws. If your saw is slipping out and going all different directions, take a bar of soap and coat the teeth with it like that, and it'll cut so much smoother. Perfect. Alright, a little bit of patience and dangerous use of a power tool. Got these done. Now this part is tricky. Alright, so here's my little spacer. And let's see. So the way I have this, hinge is completely closed like this, and I'm going to open it up and mount it like this. So I need to mount this to this, and then this to this, and then on the bottom. Just like that on both sides. Alright, had to come up with a technique that works. Alright, so here we go. I already did the other one. I'm going to show you guys how I did it. I lined it up. Alright, again, we're starting with starting with the hinge fully closed like this. I want to drop it down just like that. Have it spaced. Have it butt up against this way and straight down this way. And then I'm going to there like that. And then very gently slide this landed. Like that. Then I'm using some wood screws. They're 1/2 inch, number 8. And then I'm going to, there's an inchworm on here. Try not to injure him or her. And then flip this over, and then I'm going to go directly on either side of my clamp. Make sure you guys are still in focus. No. There we go. That clamp gives me a guide on which way to go or where to go. Now they're on, and now I can put my hinges on. Definitely going to drill some pilot holes for this. Do not want this wood to split. So this just happened. These 1/2 inch screws aren't long enough, so I'm moving up to number 10 3/4 inch screws. Alright y'all, a lot of things happening really fast. I'm losing daylight, and I just quit filming. So I did get that on. I measured for the handle that's got like a little pull handle. I'm going to have to cut those screws down before I can get that on there. I am going to go ahead and attach this top part. So I cut 4 pieces of wood that are drying over there, and since this is the front side, I'm going to put the wood on the back side of that, so it gives it kind of a little bit of this nice little inset right there. And I'm going to put wood there, screw it all the way up to that, screw it on the back side on both ends, and then I'm going to cut the top piece, screw it down from the top, get that done, and hopefully I have enough daylight to show you guys the final piece. And also, before it gets too dark, I'm gonna cover these sides up. It's the next day. Now I need to put on my hardware, and I've got to cut off some of this. I'm going to take off a 1/2 inch on each screw, just so it's not too long, because the board for the door is a little thin. So I'm going to take my rotary tool and cut off a 1/2 inch.
Perfect.
I'm not going to deny this build was challenging in a lot of different ways. I had a concept inside my head, and that changed as I got deeper into this build, and this came out much better than I ever expected it to. Let me show you my rough drawing that this was my rough drawing, something that I kind of sketched out, slapped on a piece of paper, threw some measurements together, and that's changed from, the build has changed from the original design. So make sure you watch this. I hope you guys watch this all the way through, all of the design changes and mistakes that I made while building this. And it took me about 10 hours to build from start to finish. A lot of that was a lot of scratching my head and trying to figure out measurements and making mismeasurements, making mistakes, and having to recut some things, but everything turned out just the way I wanted it to. And like I said, it came out better than expected. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.